Welcome to the fifth installment of Renee and Daryl's Walt Disney World Honeymoon. I'm Daryl.
And I'm Renee. For those of you joining us for the first time, we are a middle-aged newlywed couple planning our honeymoon to the world during the 2019 Epcot Flower and Garden Festival. If you'd like more background on us, check out our first episode we recorded about a month ago. We're planning to stream these vlogs most Wednesday nights, and most of the time, that's going to be from Daryl's podcast studio.
And I do need to disclose that I have Disney stock in a retirement fund, and I'm a Disney Visa card holder. That first really doesn't have an effect, but the latter does, as we're looking for and taking advantage of the discounts available through the Disney Visa Rewards card, and also using the Disney dollars when we go to the park to pay for some of the expenses in the park, probably like the parking at the resort
that we now have to pay for. One of those discount opportunities, other than the parking, of course, that's not really discounted, is the tours. These are special, usually backstage guided options available to everyone visiting Walt Disney World. Most of these require that you already have the park admission, and then they're added for an extra fee. We wanted to do one of these, but 5 days just isn't enough time on this trip to block out the extra time to do something other than the usual parks and, of course, the Flower and Garden Festival stuff.
Right. And a lot of this is that you haven't been really to these parks.
Right.
So
once we're used to the parks, then we'll just go and take tours.
Yeah. Once you've been there a little bit,
Hopefully we like it.
And we're doing the Garden Festival, which is going to take plenty of time. But I have actually done a couple of these tours, the Magic Behind Our Steam Train tour, and one of the behind the scenes tours at Animal Kingdom that I don't see anymore. Both of those were really interesting, and I would recommend either one. But that was more than 7 years ago, and it looks to me like they've added more options.
Well, but you were at the parks, or you saw them before you decided to do the tours, right?
I'm sorry, try that again?
You had already seen the parks or something like that, so you knew you wanted to take a tour because it was more focused on something
we
that
had
you
already been
seen.
there in August and then went back in January. So.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Then they don't have otters, though, do they?
Well, they have the otters on the island, but you don't really get to see those.
Okay.
Not in the backstage stuff.
Right. All right. So tonight we're going to run through a list of tours that are offered, which are not all the tours, but the ones that are discounted for the Disney Rewards Visa card holders. So again, this isn't all of them, but we probably will have a longer vlog again since it is a pretty lengthy list.
It is. And we're going to go in kind of the order of which parks they're in. So in the Magic Kingdom, we'll start with those. There's a Disney Family Magic Tour. Now, this one I thought was cute, but not going to be for us. It's
more for kids.
Well, it's for the families with younger kids. And what they do is they run around in the park solving riddles based on interactive quest, which I'm not even sure what that really means. But you get to go around like with a guide. I'm thinking it's more like a scavenger hunt.
Okay.
But I'm not really sure because I haven't
Which is kind of like
done it. I'm just reading the description and figuring it out. The more interesting one is the Disney's Keys to the Kingdom tour. This I don't think is going to be as interesting as the multi-park version.
Okay.
But probably a little bit more in depth. If you're a Magic Kingdom fan, you'll probably like this one better. It is, they quote say, unlocking the fascinating history of the Magic Kingdom park. And this is one of those ones that will take you to the utilidors. So if you've ever wanted to check out the first, it's the first floor. No guests really get to go to the first floor. They're always on the second floor and above. So that's the first floor if you ever want to check that out. And I really wanted to do that just to see what it's like.
Oh, is that where you go when you're in the Haunted Mansion and the room stretches?
No, because the Haunted Mansion room doesn't stretch down there.
Oh, that's right. That's
only at Disneyland.
Disneyland one.
Right.
You go down the elevator.
Right.
Oh.
But one of the other interesting things is Utilidor no longer goes the entire length and the width of the park because they've been expanding out with like Fantasyland.
And they didn't dig more tunnels?
Well, yeah. Well, it's not that they didn't extend the Utilidors.
That's interesting.
So, yeah.
Does Disneyland have Utilidors also?
No, that's one of the reasons why they put them in here is because they had the problems at Disneyland.
Oh.
And the story was something about Walt was in the parks and saw a space man walking through the Frontierland, and didn't like that, so decided that
he needed to go through the secret doors.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they also did some changes at the Disneyland park to make it easier for the cast members to get around, as I recall. But that
Okay.
was the catalyst for the utilidors.
Oh.
So there's trucks and stuff driving around underneath, not like full-size trucks, but the little trucks driving
The ones
around.
that go like this one?
No, like your little like gators and stuff like that,
okay.
I gather.
This would be more fun.
The Gandy dancers?
Yeah, like the ones in the mines and stuff like that.
Yeah, the workers. No, but there's also utilities in there, which is where the utilidor comes from.
Okay.
You've got the trash vacuums that on Main Street that
right.
go through there.
Okay, that's why they just appear and vacuum and disappear.
Well, the trash cans, they might have actually retired it. But the trash cans have like a trap door at the bottom, so you build up a certain amount of trash. When it gets to a certain level, it sucks it down and gets it out, so you don't actually have to go.
Toilet.
Yes, but you don't have
really cool.
The whole point is the janitors don't have to run around.
That's actually really cool.
Collecting all the trash and interrupting stuff.
That's pretty cool.
Very
I never
cool.
thought about that.
Yeah.
This next one you did, right?
Yeah, the Magic Behind the Steam Trains tour. This is not likely to be available when we're there because they're probably going to have the railroad shut down.
Oh, that's right, because of
Tron
Rail.
Yeah. Or not Tron Rail, but the Tron Coaster. Yeah.
The coaster, yeah.
But the behind the scenes was really cool. You get there roughly an hour before park open. They take you for a train ride back into the maintenance facility, which is a very cool maintenance facility. It's multiple tracks with the monorail above it. So it's the maintenance facility both for the trains and for the monorails.
Oh, that's cool.
But you only get to see the trains. It's really cool, though, seeing these old Baldwin locomotives with old positive train control, because these things were retrofitted in the 1970s with positive train control.
Oh.
It's the first, and I believe still the only steam locomotives with positive train control. I'd have to go and do some digging to see if that's actually true, but that's the way it used to be.
Wow.
And they just have one of the locomotives that you get to climb on.
That's really fun.
And what I wonder, though, is with this shutdown for the Tron coaster, they're supposed to have trains, and I think it's full trains, not just the locomotives, parked at the Main Street station and the was it the Frontier? I don't remember now, but they're supposed to have trains parked at two of the stations, and you're supposed to be able to go up and take pictures, and they're supposed to have staff, cast members there to talk to you about the trains.
Fun.
So I'm wondering if you're going to essentially get some of this behind the magic information and get to climb in the cab.
That sounds like fun.
Right there.
The Marceline to Magic Kingdom tour, what is that?
This is one that I haven't really heard anything about, but it's the story essentially of Walt and using the Magic Kingdom as the backdrop. So it's kind of a light version from what I can tell of some of the other tours.
Okay.
But it does go more into the history than into the practical look at the park, I guess.
So the practical history about Walt and...
Well, it's the history about Walt, talking about his upbringing in Marceline, Missouri.
Okay.
And then moving in through, I'm sure they're going to talk about the studios and everything. But in the description, it really sounds like they're talking about Disneyland and then getting into the 64-65 World's Fair.
Okay.
And from there, the development of the Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
So I'm not really sure what it's going to cover, but it sounds more like it's going to be more of a lecture than a guided tour.
I was going to say, it sounds like one of those things that we'd listen to on a podcast.
On a podcast, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And then, of course, there's Epcot, which is one of my favorite parks.
I think it's going to be mine, too. Just from hearing it and the festivals and everything's going on there. I'm not sure if one day's enough.
Oh no, we're not going to be there just one day.
Okay. I'm sorry. My nose is really itchy.
That's fine.
So the Gardens of the World, is this going to be going on while we're there?
I'm thinking it will be, because this is just a seasonal offering too.
Okay.
It didn't specify what the seasons are, but it's taking a look at the horticulture, and they specifically call out the topiaries.
Oh,
And the
okay.
topiaries are like the centerpiece of the garden festival.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure this is going to be something that we could do then. I don't really want to do this though on our first garden festival,
right?
Because there's going to be so much for us to look at, and they do have a bunch of talks and things that are part of it.
I think I remember seeing that, because I think this is the one that they offer also, you like a more in-depth, you can take classes and learn how to do some of your own topiary.
Well, they have some of that's garden festival included.
Oh, okay.
So this is
no, but I meant it was a more intimate class, like where you're actually getting to do it.
No, I think those are part of, I think there's some of those that are not part of the guided tours,
but part of the
Epcot, part of the garden festival.
Okay.
You know, where you actually, I think there's actually additional fees.
I think we need to take.
But this is one where they take you back, near as I can tell from the description, they actually take you back into the nursery areas and that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's taking you into the land, but I wouldn't rule that out from the description. It just doesn't really talk about that so much. It talks more about the World Showcase.
Okay.
And then much more. But, you know, it refers to the living classroom of Epcot.
That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. What about Future World, the Undiscovered Future World Tour?
This one I really, again, haven't heard too much about. But the thing that really intrigued me here is in the description, it's talking about the original experimental prototype community of tomorrow concept, which is nothing like what Epcot became.
Right.
That was not, it was a park, but it wasn't the amusement park. It's totally different, but you get to go into the VIP lounges. They don't tell you, or they don't guarantee which lounges you're going to get into, I don't think.
Okay.
But they say lounges like the Living Seas, the Spaceship Earth, and Mission Space.
I always confuse those two.
Yeah, they're nothing alike.
Okay. I mean, well, being that I've never seen either one, I always confuse the two.
But the other interesting thing is you actually get to walk through the outdoor portion of Test Track.
Oh, that's cool.
As the ride is running. So that's like, wow, interesting, but scary. To me, boring. I'm not going to pay to walk in that.
No, but you know, again, maybe after we've been here a lot of times and you're bored with something, which it doesn't sound like you really ever are going to get bored going there. There's so many different things to do all the time. And now there's even more festivals. I heard there might be a fourth. I know the third one is the arts in January, the Festival of the Arts, but I heard they're doing another one for summer, like before Food and Wine starts.
Yeah, I don't know.
I heard something about that. I don't know. We've watched so many things. I have to go back.
Have to see. Now, the next one on the list is one that you'd love to do.
Yes, but
it's the Epcot Seas Adventure with the dolphins.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
I've never swam with, any. I did see a man ray once when I was in Mexico. It was really close to me, and I had no idea how big those things are because it was further away from me, and I thought it was like the size of my hand, and then it came up a little bit, and I think it was bigger than me. It was really cool, but yeah, and nobody was around me at the moment because wherever the guide was showing everyone a baby octopus, and he got inked. So nobody else saw that.
But this is interacting with the dolphins. You actually get into the water with them.
That's really cool.
So yeah, I'm sure you'll get a lot more information, but they do tell you will get wet.
What?
So
you're getting in the water.
Well, but you might not wear swimsuits.
They don't have the wetsuits there? Oh, you're not all the way in the water?
I don't know.
Huh.
I'm not sure.
But I think this one, it looks really cool, but it's so short that I feel like I'd get in the water and say hi and leave.
Well, you spend about 30 minutes is what they say in the water, but it's a 3-hour experience.
It's a 3-hour. Okay.
Yeah.
That's better.
And then you get photo ops and that kind of stuff with the dolphins too. It actually does say please bring a bathing suit if you plan to enter the water.
Oh, so you don't have to enter the water? Why
I
would
guess
you
not.
not enter the water if you could?
Well, you might not feel up to it, but you're in backstage areas too.
Okay.
So I assume that you're going to have to be able to walk at least somewhat and get in and out of the water.
Hopefully the water's at a good level, or I can tread walk.
Waste. Yeah,
who's waste?
Yeah, I know. But I'm just thinking if you're like wheelchair bound, this might not be something you're able to do. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't really know. But there's also the aqua tours.
That looks really cool also. I like this idea.
Yeah, it's a snorkeling experience for the people who aren't scuba certified.
That'd be cool.
Only about 2.5 hours though, and it's only 30 minutes in the actual
snorkeling tank.
So it's it sounds interesting, but frankly, probably not really worth it. There's also a dive quest, which this one I'd probably want to do if I were a diver. You have to be a scuba diver.
Have you ever been certified?
No.
Your parents are, right?
No, they're not actually. They're just snorkeling.
Okay.
They don't go scuba diving.
I've only been snorkeling twice, and it was in the same week.
Yeah, Larry is the only person I know who's actually scuba certified, and I don't know that he still is.
I was actually taking a class. I don't know if I told you this. I was actually taking a class to be scuba certified because it sounds really cool, even though they told me that I was actually told that this might be a good way to overcome claustrophobia, because a lot of people feel claustrophobic when they're under the water, but I don't really feel that way. Even with all the gear and whatever, there's so much space that it didn't bother me. But instead I fell and tore my ACL, and underwater, that with pressure was not working for me. So I never finished the class, but I got about halfway through the class right before we were going to go on our first practice dive.
But this seems like something that would be really cool for scuba divers, is to swim in those giant tanks.
And so guests get to see them swimming in those tanks, right? That's just kind of cool.
Yeah, you're actually in there during the time that it's open most of the time.
Mm-hmm. That's totally cool. I would do that. Like wave at people. I like when they talk. Have you seen what I've been at? I think it was in Long Beach in the aquarium. There was someone doing a talk and they were in the water. It was really funny.
Yeah, they don't do that there though.
Okay, but it was still really cool.
Right. Let's move on to the Behind the Seeds tour. This one's infamous.
Okay.
People talk about this one all the time. If you're into the land pavilion, this is one that you definitely want to do, because you get into all 4 greenhouses. Well, I shouldn't say all 4, but the 4 greenhouses.
They have 4 they have 4 main ones?
Yeah, I'm not sure what they actually have outside of that, because I don't think they really do as much research and such as they used to do.
Oh.
But you get to go back into the greenhouses and into the fish farm. So it's a pretty cool backstage look at that. But you're actually, if I understand correctly, walking through those greenhouses that you go through in the boats. And I seem to remember.
You go through them in the boats? I'm sorry. In which boats? Oh, you mean
the land pavilion?
Oh, the land pavilion.
Yeah, Living with the Land. We just watched the
yes, that's
boat video the other day that had that. But I actually seem to remember a group of people with the headsets on, because they give you those headsets for most of these
tours?
No, not self-guided. It's it's a group of, it depends on which one, but like 20 people will say, and you have the tour guide with the transmitter, and everyone's got the headset so that everyone can hear.
Oh, okay.
And most of these tours do that. The Behind the Steam Trains one did not. The one in Animal Kingdom did.
Okay. And they have like stuff from all over the world, growing all different kinds of things that you may not normally see.
Well, I think you'll normally see them, just you're on the boat. So this is
I mean, like in real life, you don't really see these things up close most of the time.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
And then the World Showcase, they have the Destinations Discovered, which I don't get this from the description. It's like, why pay for this? You walk around World Showcase, and it's a 5-hour walking excursion through the 11 countries.
Isn't that what you do anyway when you go to Epcot?
Yeah, so it's basically just
to give you something,
an interactive walking tour, I guess. But you do get lunch at the Rose and Crown.
Okay, so is that worth $300 or whatever the tour costs?
I don't think it's going to be that much, but I just don't see that this is really going to be
I don't know. I think if we're
Worth
going to
it?
do table service, I don't know if I want to do it as part of a tour.
No, well, and well, it'd be included too, but I think really the reason to do this one,
Mm-hmm.
or I shouldn't say that. Let me go the other way. The reason I wouldn't want to do this one is I'd probably be happier with like one of the guided audio tours that you can download.
Right.
You know, you still have to buy a lot of those, but still to download that audio tour, I think you're going to get much more
if
out
there
of
was
it.
something
And
behind the scenes, but
yeah, and you get to stop and spend some time in the gift shop if that's what you want to do. You know, grab a snack, which you really can't do probably as part of the tour.
Right.
So I don't think that was one that really makes sense. However, I could be totally wrong.
Well, maybe we'll see something that we're there that we want to know more information about and find out it's on that. So next time, we'll know more. We'll take an inventory of all the things we want to know more about and see what tours they have that might fit that.
Now, they have a few of these that are multi-parked ones. And for a lot of people, I think the Ultimate Day of Thrill VIP tour really sounds awesome.
Sounds awesome, but too much.
It's more than a fast pass. Mm-hmm. This is, you're actually escorted right onto these rides. So they give you a selection of rides at the Magic Kingdom where you're going to start with Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Splash Mountain, Space Mountain, Haunted Mansion, and the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Okay.
So you're going to get through all of that, and then you move on. They're going to give you lunch.
Okay.
At a quick service restaurant, not a table service.
Okay.
You're going to go to Epcot and do Soarin'.
Okay. Is that different at each park?
No.
Okay.
No, it used to be different, but now it's Soaring Over America at both parks, which we already saw, which is why we're not going to really bother with it again. So that's the only one you're doing at Epcot.
Okay.
But, they're going to take care of the transit. I'm assuming they have a dedicated short bus for that, party bus.
Short bus. That's not nice.
No. Well, it's a short one. It's not the full.
Okay.
But the tour then moves to Hollywood Studios, where you do Toy Story Mania, Rock and Roller Coaster, Twilight Zone, and the Star Tours. And I'm assuming, I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming they're going to throw in the Slinky Dog Dash and that kind of stuff at this point. And whatever opens in Star Wars Land, the Galaxy's Edge, they'll probably throw some of that in. But
for now,
they don't mention Animal Kingdom. So you don't get to go on Cali River or on Expedition Everest.
We're doing that anyway, though.
Right. No, but this is
but this is
you're
through
doing
the guided.
all this in a day. They're going to bring you right to the front of the line.
Sounds like your parents' kind of vacation.
Yeah.
Let's see how much we can get in.
I don't remember how much this one cost, but it seems like probably something that's worth it for someone who wants to get all of this stuff in a day, because you get right to the front of the line.
That is pretty cool, though.
Yeah. And you don't have to worry about the transit or anything, and get you everything quickly.
Parking.
The one that I wanted to do is the Backstage Magic.
Okay.
This is the multi-tour one. You start out at Disney World, or the Magic Kingdom, and you go through the utilidors and that kind of stuff. You go through Epcot, including the American Adventure, which is one of those that I really wanted to get into and
that's the engineering one.
Well, no, the American Adventure is the giant audio animatronic tour, but that's the one that I heard about through that show engineering book. The show, I can't remember the name of it now, but the engineer who wrote the book on what to expect if you want to get into something like Imagineering.
Okay.
What some of the different aspects are, and he talked about his experience working on the American Adventure.
Oh, fun.
So that's one of the reasons I want to get into that one now. But this is a 7-hour tour that includes a lunch at, I want to say it was Wilderness Lodge.
Oh.
And you know what?
Is that like barbecue? What's it? Wilderness Lodge?
No, we'll talk about that a little bit. It is a barbecue lunch, but I'm thinking it might actually start at Epcot, because that's the first thing on the highlight list is the American Adventure.
Okay.
But you get into the utilidors at Magic Kingdom. You go through creative costuming.
That could be fun.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that is, but you also get to go to the central shops. And at Wilderness Lodge, You get to go to Whispering Canyon Cafe, and also take a look at the textile services, complete with a unique photo opportunity.
With the laundry?
No, I'm thinking you get to
try on clothes.
You know what? Maybe they actually put you in the laundry. Yeah. You get to take a picture in there.
In the gigantic machines.
Exactly.
Maybe you get to try on clothes. I mean the costumes. I doubt.
Yeah, that's what I thought they would be doing.
That would be fun. I don't know that I'd want to do it now. Again, I want to soak in as much of the parks as we can, and
right.
And then figure out it. It's like I like to go on vacation either for twice as long as I ever can, or to go someplace twice. Because when you've never been there, like when I went to France the first time for 10 days, I'm not even sure what I saw. I saw so many things. So when I went back, I could focus on one thing for like a couple days, or, the tours weren't exactly happening. But I mean, that would be the idea here, is you could go back, or we know there's trails we want to take, but we're not going to do that during this trip probably.
Right. Well, in the trails, they do have the Wilderness Back Trail Adventure. And I think of the ones on this list, this is the only one you don't have to have park admission for.
Oh.
Because this is actually at the Wilderness Lodge. And this is just a off-road Segway tour, basically, of some of the trails at Wilderness Lodge. You get to go see the stables, which is pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah,
I'm not sure about an off-road Segway. I had a hard enough time on a road.
Well,
they gave us knee pads and everything,
but I don't think this is one that I'd want to do if I have the admission to the parks that day. This is something if I were doing a staycation kind of thing. They do a lot of these now.
You mean
where
when
you just
we
go
to
to
Orlando?
No. You do a lot of these now. They're calling them staycations, even though they're not staycations. Where people go and get a room at Wilderness Lodge or at Poly or something like that, and they spend the entire time at that resort.
Because there's so much to do there. Just like off, like which one is the one that has all the one that has the is it that has all the trails, the really cool
That's
trails?
Wilderness Lodge.
No. Other than that, there was another one that had like some hiking trails, or
Wilderness Lodge. They're the ones that have all the nature trails and stuff.
Oh, okay. I thought there was one, like, where was the one with the horse and carriage?
Oh, you're thinking of Port Orleans.
Right. Aren't there some trails there too?
Just around the lake. They're not really trails.
Not really trails. Just go explore kind of thing.
Right. And most of the resorts seem to have something like that. The walking trails to get between the buildings to the pools and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of people are doing that.
Does sound cool.
So you do something like this to tack on the fun for one day. Animal Kingdom has like a safari thing, if I remember. That's not one that we can get the discount on, but they take you out in like one of the trucks, I think, and
I like the Jeep tours off, like that idea.
Yeah, and it's not free, but it's not as expensive as doing some of the other ones. One of the other ones that's not included on here, and I actually didn't see it on the list. I think it's not part of this program anymore. It's now separate, but they have the Africa Wilderness Tour or something like that. I don't remember what they call it.
Was it a safari?
No. This is the one that's you go actually on. It's almost like an adventure trail over the savannah, and they have
the zip lining and all that kind of
stuff. Yeah.
I've never zip lined. I don't.
And so they do lunch or snack, I guess. Really not a full lunch, but it's like 2 hours. In the it's Wilderness Trek, I think is what they call it.
That sounds interesting.
And I thought it was gone because it wasn't listed here, but I did find a reference on some other site.
Very cool.
Within, or not some other site, some other page within the Disney, the DisneyWorld.go.co or whatever it is, on the Disney park site.
Okay.
Talking about it and giving you the option to book.
Oh.
So it is still available. It's just moved from that guided tour to probably some other department that's handling more of that kind of experience.
That sounds like fun.
The tours really are usually more about the education than the entertainment.
Of course. But I think you can be entertained during education.
Sure, but I'm thinking that they moved that to a different group.
Oh, because it was more about entertainment than.
Right, because
Okay.
it's focused on the single park. It's not going to multi-parks.
Okay.
Yeah, it needs a different type of staff member or cast member, because most of these you just need, a lot of these are handled by like retirees who get a kick out of doing it. That was certainly
Right.
the case with the tour that we
Trains.
did with the trains. This was he was the only one at the time doing that tour, and he was training 3 other people to do that tour.
Oh my goodness.
When we were there. But he just knew this stuff inside out. He's a fan and got into it, and this is what he does in his retirement. And we work at Disney like 4 or 5 days a week, whatever he was doing, for 3 hours a day.
That sounds like a fun
retirement gig. Yeah. So the Wild Africa Trek needs more people, and they have to be more athletic, because they have to be able to help people across the
who think they can do it that really can't.
Right, and people who are scared.
That'd probably be me.
So I just think it's probably handled by a different department that's better suited for that.
And people that need more training too, because you need
and it's an attraction. It's this runs all the time. Most of these are one show a day essentially. With the Wild Africa Trek, last I looked, they had a group starting like every 15 minutes.
Wow.
From like an hour from park opening. Actually, I think it was even before park opening.
Oh, wow.
Like an hour before park closed. So it was like pretty much the entire time the park was open, they were kicking off these groups.
Oh my goodness.
So it's higher volume and everything else. And I think that's all of those things just added up to make it challenging to put it under that group, under the tour group.
That makes sense. I think we should probably start wrapping up. So thanks to you for watching, especially those watching live and sending comments in the chat. If you have more to share after the live show, please drop those in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe to the channel and click on the little bell icon to get the notifications when we go live.
And we will be back next week to talk about something that my wife discovered last year at Disneyland.
It's your fault.
Yeah, and it was the final hours at the Disney California Adventure.
And then my niece took off with it too.
She did.
But I am very excited. We're gonna talk about pin trading. So Daryl's also been helping me amp up my collection over the last year. So
and we already have some pins to go trading with when we get back down there. So yeah, we'll definitely be doing some of that, and hopefully we'll have some time between now and then for you to catch up on some of the pin trading vlogs and stuff like that will give you some more information.
Absolutely.
So thanks again, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.